Hello, my friends. It's Jennifer McCollum, business coach for parent coaches and founder of the Parent Coach Club. I have Ashely here with me today, parent coach and pediatric occupational therapist. Hello, Ashely.
Hello, Jen.
I'm so happy you're here today to talk to us about the developmental impacts that COVID has had on our kids and how we can really support them with the skills that they've lacked the last couple of years. Ashely, tell us about how you became a parent coach with an OT background.
Yes. Jen, I am so passionate about this work. This has been a part of my life, being with families, helping families since a very young age. My parents were volunteers for the Special Olympics early on when I was 6 years of age. So I would come along with them, help out, and they coached a softball team for Special Olympics. So I was the ball fetcher. So I would go and fetch the balls, and just having that exposure of helpfulness and being part of the community and helping people that may need some assistance with independence and that have differences. It's always been part of my life since I was very young, and it inspired me to go on, be a peer mentor during my middle school, high school years, and volunteered in a variety of settings for people with differences, emotional, behavioral, developmental, cognitive. And it has been my passion, and bringing in this desire to use mindfulness as well and look at the whole person was my calling, and why I decided to go into occupational therapy, because we do, as an occupational therapist, through the lens of an OT, we look at the whole person. And so that made sense to me to then study occupational therapy so I could continue this path of helping people. And I get to work in the schools part-time, and I help students succeed, do well academically, whether they have differences or challenges, and I offer them accommodations and modifications so that they can thrive. Because when kids thrive and feel great, they will just revel in that energy and continue to do their best in other environments. So I have been an OT for over a decade now, and I noticed that kids would do well, meet their goals, academic goals, their OT goals in the schools, but then go home and struggle because the skills were not carried over or transferred into the home environment. And so the kids would struggle with that lack of consistency. And so I would especially see those challenges when they would come back after spring break or after summer break or winter break. And we would have to work with the kids to boost those skills up again. So I noticed this discrepancy, and I wanted to fill that gap. I wanted to bridge that gap, helping parents, help parents feel successful in the home, helping them boost their kids' independence and skills and connect and have more calm and consistency in the home. So I've been a parent coach for almost 2 years now, and it's just a beautiful marriage of the two. I get to work with kids in person, and then I get to help parents as a parent coach.
Wow, I love that. How you have bridged that gap between school and home, seeing what's happening with the kids, supporting the parents so that they're really working together in the best interests of the child. And I love the background of occupational therapy, like really looking at the whole picture. And now you're really looking at the whole picture, supporting everyone. So you still work in schools and you support parents one-to-one, is that right?
I do, and I actually prefer that. I do have the option to leave the schools, but it allows me the opportunity to see where kids are struggling and how to help them, because these trends constantly change. And what we're going to talk about later today, the current trend is helping kids with lagging skills from the fallout of COVID. And so I prefer to be working with kids kids have so much joy, just naturally, they want to do their best. And sometimes they just need a little bit of help, and they need an adult or someone who shows that they care and have that understanding. And that helps kids feel better about themselves so that they can go on to those other environments and feel good.
Wow, this interview is going to be so helpful to parents because you have a first-hand view of what's going on with their kids. So I want to dive into these impacts. Like, it's been a couple of years that we were just chatting before we got started, and the mask mandates are lifting, if not have lifted. And you see firsthand kind of the negative impact of COVID all around for our school age kids. Can we talk about what those are and what you have been seeing in your work?
Yes, yes. So over the past 2 years since the pandemic, we have seen a lot of lagging skills in terms of school performance, social emotional skills, performance skills, academic, kids knowing how to manage their behaviors. We're seeing an increase in meltdowns, increase in screen time, and even in the schools, in the classrooms, kids are using technology more. And though that there's this advancement of technology, which can be used as a tool and can be helpful, but yet what is happening is we're taking away other opportunities to explore the environment by using the senses. And so when we're using this device, it's more one-dimensional. And so kids are showing up to schools not knowing how to hold scissors, not knowing how to hold a crayon, not having the stamina, the endurance to be able to sit at a desk and attend, because the core strength, postural strength isn't adequate enough. And so kids are getting tired. They are showing inattention. There's complaining of hand fatigue or discomfort in handwriting. Kids are refusing to do writing tasks, and oftentimes they don't know how to articulate the reason why they don't like writing. And a lot of the times it's because they can't keep their body up. They're tired. They can't hold a pencil for more than 10 minutes. Their hand is tired. Their hand is cramped because they hold it in an ineffective way, which causes tension in the muscles and hand fatigue. And so all these impact that experience. And so if you add all that complexity to it, then kids are going to refuse to write. And so I'm seeing an increase because kids are showing up to schools with weaker hands. At home, there is more use of technology. And we talked about this earlier, how screen time, there's this study done. It was an occupational therapist. And over the pandemic, the past 2 years, the use of screen time in kids has increased 50%. That statistic is so alarming. And when we think about not only are kids using technology in the schools, but also go home and use technology. And I get it, parents are tired, they're working all day, they just want to come home and relax, carrying a lot of the anxiety and burden of responsibilities during these times, during the pandemic. It's a lot for parents to carry. And so it's easy to just give a child advice and have them, play and be engaged in something so that, mom or dad can go and just rest, relax, read, or use a device themselves. But there is such an increase in this activity that kids are now showing up to school with decreased skills in how to regulate their emotions and struggling with transitions from one task to another, from music class to math. These are all challenges that we've seen increase over the past 2 years, and it's certainly related and have worsened since the pandemic. So we've got a lot of work to do as OTs. I'm collaborating with teachers, I'm talking with staff and parents, and helping develop programming so that kids are able to bolster these skills, and also help parents know, like, hey, these are things that you can do at home, and you don't need to be right there with your child side by side doing these tasks, but here are some great suggestions, alternatives to screens, or here are ways to get your kids to use their hands, to strengthen their hands so that they don't complain of hand fatigue, or giving them scissors and some old magazines, and just cutting old magazines is actually quite entertaining for a child. If you show them how to hold scissors properly, they can go ahead and just start cutting up old papers, scrap paper, develops the hands, it practices those scissors skills, and it gives your child something to do while you can go and have 5 to 10 minute break and take care of yourself. So that way you can replenish yourself and then come to that relationship replenished and ready to, put more value into it so that you can connect more, so that you stay regulated. Because when you are taking care of yourself, right, then you are showing your child and modeling to your child what emotional regulation looks like, that it's important to take care. And how we do this is how we demonstrate it to our child.
You brought up a lot of points that I wouldn't even have thought about. When we're thinking about our kids navigating, through COVID and heading back into the school environment, and like hand fatigue is not something I would have thought about. Like what we see is a behavior, right? A child falling asleep at their desk or acting out. And what you as a professional OT is seeing that, it's because they don't have the core strength, or they can't hold the pen right, and they're feeling tired, and, all of those things. So I just really see the value in having you support a family through this. You mentioned a couple things that we can do as parents at home, getting them to cut up magazines. Is there other things we can do to really, support these skills that are lacking right now in our school age kids? Anything we can do at home?
Yes. And so, Jen, it's important that we create boundaries around screens. First and foremost, set aside some time and be very specific. Schedule it in, put it on your child's schedule, or put it somewhere that is easily, accessible as a reminder. Okay, from, 4 to 5, you get screen time. And that allows the child to come home after school, rest, relax, have a snack, do their screen time. And then afterwards, like, okay, well, here are some other ideas. And some ideas include for school age children, like elementary age children, for example, younger elementary age kiddos. Play-Doh is fantastic. It's endless, it's creative, and it helps strengthen the hands. Kids love Play-Doh. Or you can make slime or oobleck, but having them use their hands and using a variety of textures also really helps with sensory processing skills. Because another thing I'm seeing, Jen, is that kids are coming to school and they are opposed to using glue. They're opposed to, washing their hands. They don't want paint to touch their skin. We're seeing behaviors in that as well. And so again, it's not that the kid is trying to be a problem. It's simply that they haven't had that exposure. So when we give our child exposure to a variety of sensory experiences, making this a rich experience with textures, smells, sounds, then it really opens up the world of opportunity, and they will actually boost their creativity skills. Not only are they building hand strength and sensory skills, but creativity as well. And often I hear from parents, yeah, well, my child complains of being bored. My child is, just wants the iPad or just wants to play video games because they're bored. So I give it to them. The thing is, though, and I encourage parents, it's going to be hard at first, to be honest, it's hard at first, but tell your child, I understand you're bored, validate their feelings. I understand you're bored, and that's okay. What can you, it's good to be bored. What can you do about it? And let them problem solve and figure out. If they can't come up with an idea, then you can suggest something. And often I help parents create sensory totes, and they're based on like beach themed sensory tote or, scissor skills tote. And it's just, scissors with a variety of textured paper, and they can just go to town and cut away. The beach theme can be a variety of textures in there that's all beach themed, and they get to explore that with their senses. But having these totes at your disposal. It allows them to just go to a cabinet, pull out a tote, and there is 30 minutes of entertainment. But it gives them an alternative to using the screens. And meanwhile, it's also increasing and boosting all these skills, letting them figure out, problem solve what they can do instead of screens, so that they're working on creativity as well, being okay with that discomfort, that initial discomfort of, oh, I'm bored, I don't know what to do with myself. Oh, well, let's go figure that out. I wonder, there's a tote that you'd like to go and check out in the closet. Let's go see what's in there. But when we come from that place of neutrality and curiosity with our child, then they'll pick up on that. And again, that's the social emotional piece. They'll feel like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm in control. I can do this. This is within my control. And it's okay. I can, do this instead of iPad time. And the more they do go through those steps, the easier it gets, and the less you'll hear the dreaded "I'm bored." And so you're creating all of these experiences in the home, which will carry over into the school. And this is the beautiful thing, that the more the child feels successful in a variety of environments, they're just going to feel so more competent and confident in what they do throughout their day, which will see an increase in academic performance as well. Because when kids feel good about their skills, about their performance, they will work harder. They will show that in their work in the school environment.
Such great reminders. I love the sensory bins. I remember doing that with the kids when they were younger, but I know you also work with mamas of tweens and teens. What would you suggest for the older kids?
Yeah, great question. So for the tweens and teens, figure out what they like to do. What are their hobbies? What if they can't come up with hobbies? For example, let's say you have dinner time discussion about interests, and it can be a family ritual where you just talk about your interests. So it's not just coming to your child and saying, hey, what do you like to do? What do you want to do? It's not formal like that, but rather it's just a conversation that you can have out of curiosity at the dinner table and ask, what are some things that you like to do? Hey, I'm exploring how to play ukulele. I would like to learn how to play, this song. What about you? What is something that you would like to learn? You can ask your teen to get them involved in the conversation. What are some of their interests? What would they like to explore? And if they have a hard time coming up with ideas, then what did they used to do? What were previous hobbies that maybe they've left aside for a while during the pandemic? Maybe go back and explore that again, see what that's like. But getting them to figure out what they like to do, what they're good at, then go there and have a discussion with your tween, with your teen, and then see what you can create from that. Maybe it's going and exploring a new jiu-jitsu class. Maybe that's going and exploring theater. And the wonderful thing is that a lot of places are beginning to open up again. Clubs are starting up again. Sports are starting up again. People are starting to gather again. So whatever's comfortable for you and your family, then maybe go and explore a new activity together, or where your child can do it on their own independently. A lot of kids are expressing anxiety right now being in large gatherings due to the experience of being in COVID. So a lot of anxiety has increased over these past couple of years. And I'm seeing resistance in tweens and teens, especially, to be in group settings. And what I'm seeing is that a lot of the times these kiddos prefer to just do Zoom with friends, or play video games on Zoom with friends, or there's even where you can share video game. It's like where you get to connect and play video games together. That's something else that kids or tweens and teens are doing. And that's great that they're connecting with their friends, but maybe just have a conversation, explore what are ways to bring this outside of the home environment. And maybe that is organizing a get together and then creating more of those get togethers. So that way that becomes that becomes comfortable for them. So they're moving away from being in their room, being on a computer, to slowly changing that habit to explore other opportunities and venturing out and doing other things. So figuring out, having that discussion, because you want to be real with your tweens and teens, right? That's the time when you're more real and honest and authentic with them. So just having a conversation. Hey, I see that you're spending a lot of time with your friends online. I wonder if we can explore something else. Can we come up with some ideas of what we can do so that you're still seeing your friends? And we can start small. I understand that it may be kind of anxious for you. So how can I support you in this? How can I help you so that we could try something new?
Wow, so many great ideas. Thank you so much, Ashely. Like, I love that you pointed out like what is going on with our kids, and then that we can take these steps at home to support them in the school as well. Thank you for sharing all of that. So tell me how parents can find you and how they can work with you. Can you share all of your website and details of where we can have them connect with you?
Yes. So I'm at joyfulmamamentor.com. That's my website, and you can learn more about my coaching there and what I offer, specializing in helping parents understand their kids' challenging behaviors. So my program is on the site. I also have a freebie that I wanted to offer. And Jen, we actually talked about a freebie, but I'm actually going to offer another freebie that's more pertinent to this discussion, and it's activities to do with your kids. So that way these, kids are boosting these developmental skills and hitting their milestones. So that is my free gift. And so I'll share that with you, Jen, to share with the audience here.
Well, I can't wait to see that one because already I'm thinking like I'm getting the Play-Doh out. My kids are teens and young adults, but like who doesn't like to play with Play-Doh? And then let's make slime. I know slime was like a fad way back when, but it is so much fun. So I'm going to get slime materials today. I love that. And then the
Yes.
collage. One of my adult kids, they were doing collage like a dream board, a vision board, and cutting out pictures and words from magazines. It's like any age loves, like, it's just such a great activity that fills the soul and gets you away from the screens. So
I
I
love
love
it.
all the ideas and the ahas you gave me today. I am wondering, the parents that are listening right now, if they forget everything we said, which I don't think they will because it was all so good, but what is one thing you want them to remember as they go out there and support their kids through this, the opening up now of the pandemic? We're getting post-pandemic, and what's one thing you want them to just remember?
Yeah. To be easy on yourself. If you are here watching this and you've watched the entire episode here with me and Jennifer, then you are doing a fantastic job, and that is good enough. So be easy on yourself, love yourself, have some self-compassion, because what you need to do is just show up. That's really it. Just show up to yourself, show up to your kids. And when you do show up for yourself, you're able to show up more fully in the relationships that you have with your kids.
Wow, I love that. It's such a great note to leave us with. And thank you so much, Ashely, for being here. And I hope parents reach out. I know you have a 45-minute free consult call, discovery call with them that you can really talk about how you can support them more in their family. And I hope that they connect with you and also get that list of activities. I know I'm going to.
Yes.
As well. So
yes.
Thank you so much,
Wonderful.
Ashely, for being
Thank
here.
you, Jennifer.
For supporting our kids and us as parents.
Thank you, Jennifer.
Take care.
Bye.